Hello and welcome to pmclounge.com. This is Lounging Around, a series of videos where we talk about real life project management. So, if you are preparing for your PMP exam or any other project management related certification, then obviously these videos might not be that much help to you, right? They might not offer you that much help. But if you are a real life project manager, if you are a real life Scrum Master, if you deal with projects day in and day out, then videos like these are going to definitely help you out and give you a certain direction. So feel free to check out other videos in this series of lounging around. Check out the first link in the description and you will find all the videos that we have done so far. Our last video was where I told you the 5 misconceptions around the daily scrum. And one of the misconceptions was that a scrum master must attend every single daily scrum. It is a misconception. So I got a lot of comments on all the platforms alike, and I'll share the best comment that I received. But in this video, I'll also give you 3 reasons why you as a scrum master should look forward to the daily scrum. I'm not saying that you should attend every single daily scrum or you should never attend a daily scrum, but here are the 3 reasons that that you can consider looking forward to a daily scrum. But first, let's take a look at that comment. And the comment was, it is in my job description. So, as a Scrum Master, when I was hired, it was in my job description that you, as a Scrum Master, will be attending, not just attending, in certain cases, hosting the daily Scrum as well. So, if it is in your job description, please go ahead, attend the daily Scrum, do it every single day. Do your best to follow the Scrum practices, but don't quote me and don't leave your job saying that Shoaib said on PMC Lounge that you should not be attending your daily scrum. If it is in your job description, by all means, please go ahead and do it. And this was actually the best comment that I received on that video. So let me give you a brief idea about what Daily Scrum is. Daily Scrum is a sync up for developers. Actually, it is for the developers and by the developers. And that is the reason why I say that as a Scrum Master, you are not required to attend the Daily Scrum every single day. You might go in there once in a while, you might go in there, let's say, twice or thrice a week, and I'll give you 3 reasons why you should look forward to the daily scrum in this video itself. But you should also understand the fact that a daily scrum is a sync up for developers. It is basically a dev team sync up, right? It is something that the developers use to focus on the ongoing work and to sort out any impediments that they might be facing. So that is the reason why, as a Scrum Master, you are not really required in the daily Scrum every single day. You are not required to host it, but you should also understand the fact that if your job description asks for it, then go ahead and do it. So the first reason that you should look forward to a daily scrum is that you can catch up with the scrum team members. And this is very, very important, especially in the times that we are in where the team members might be working from home. A lot of scrum teams are actually remote. So actually it is a good opportunity to touch base with the scrum team members. Now, obviously you don't have to do this every single day. And that is why I said that you can look forward to attending the daily scrum maybe twice or thrice a week, because it can give you a good opportunity to catch up with your team members, especially when everyone's working on Zoom and you are not going to the office, your team is not available in the office. Sometimes, in the past, when everyone was in the office, or if your scrum team was co-located and was never a remote team, didn't have members of working from remote locations, people could come to you and you might go to them in the office itself. And if there's any mentoring required, you might do that in the office itself. It could be an informal discussion, right? So that is something, because of people working from home, that is something that cannot happen anymore. Now, when you join the daily scrum, right, you can catch up with the team members. That is one thing. You can also be a good observer, right? You can observe things like how the development team is working amongst themselves. How is the relationship between the different team members of the development team? Is everything fine or not? And you can obviously observe if there are any collaborating opportunities, if there are any impediments that where you as a scrum master might help, and if there are any ongoing challenges that the development team is not able to sort out, and you could perhaps help them, right? So that is also something that you can observe, and you can be part of the daily scrum, and help the team uh, sort issues out. Now, one other thing is you can try and join maybe 5 minutes early, and that way you can informally catch up with your team members just like you would when everyone was in the office, right? And you might go to the cafeteria for a coffee or something. So that kind of relationship building is important, and that kind of catching up with your team members is also important. So that is my number one reason why you should consider joining the daily scrum. Again, like I said, you don't have to join it every single day, but once in a while, this is one of the reasons that you can look forward to the daily scrum for. Number two is keep a check on self-organization. Now, one of the most important characteristics of Scrum team is that a Scrum team should be able to self-manage. They should be able to self-organize. As a Scrum Master, if you're hosting the daily Scrum, it might impede the self-organization aspect of the Scrum team. And that is why I say that as a Scrum Master, you should not be the one hosting it. So you need to ensure that even when you're present, your presence in the daily Scrum meeting is not impeding the Scrum team from self-organizing, right? So it is possible that some kind of mentorship is required, and feel free to, do that. Feel free to mentor the team members whenever required for any kind of self-organization. There is a possibility that sometimes the team members might not agree on something, and that's something that you need to take care of. It is also possible that if there are new team members in your Scrum team, they might not be so familiar with how self-organization work and what is the concept of self-organization. You should be present there to kind of drive initial conversations, but end of the day, you as a Scrum Master should focus on ensuring that the scrum team, your specific scrum team, self organizes. If there's any mentorship required, you're always there, but they should be self sufficient, and they should be self organizing. It is also possible that as a scrum master, when we talk about self organization, they should also be able to bring in some structure in their daily scrum, and that is where you as a scrum master can also help. Now, don't go around and tell them that everyone should log in, answer three questions, and let me know in the comments if you remember the three questions, right? Three questions of the daily scrum. Don't do that. Don't ask your team members to log in and answer the three questions. Make it a daily robotic exercise, which can, by the way, happen over email as well, because everyone is logging in just to answer three questions and not listen to what others are saying, right? So that is not something that you should do, but some kind of structure which the Scrum team members agree to, that is something that you can, let the team figure out what should be the best way to move forward, because end of the day, they are self-organizing team, right? So they should be able to figure that out, but you need to ensure that there is some structure to their daily scrum, and they should be able to keep the daily scrum short and to the point. So don't introduce the three questions, the robotic exercise of answering three questions and then logging out. Nothing like that. But you need to ensure that there is some kind of structure in their daily Scrum meeting which is best suited to the specific Scrum team. We have a free PMP study plan. Check it out at pmclounge.com/PMP study plan. You will be able to clear your PMP in 50 days. With the help of it, thousands of our community members have already benefited from it. Number three is ask thought provoking questions. Now, I've already told you that as a Scrum Master, you should not be joining the daily Scrum meeting every single day. I've already told you that you should not be the one who needs to host the daily Scrum. You should not be the one who should impede the self organization of the Scrum team. You should definitely not be the one who sounds a bit too intrusive in the daily Scrum meeting. But you can definitely ask thought provoking questions. You can ask questions whereby when the team answers those questions, they get a direction. They are pointed to the right direction. They think through and they are pointed to the right direction of where they should go, right? So you should also listen to their answers, by the way, right? You should be genuinely interested in the answers of the Scrum team. And you need to ensure that they are proceeding on the right track. Now, like I said earlier, you need not be too intrusive here. There are hundreds of ways to do a certain activity, right? And you should ensure that the team is doing what they feel most comfortable in and what they agree on. But you should never dictate what the Scrum team should do, but you should ask questions that help them figure out the best way to do a certain activity, right? So the goal here is that you should coach the team. You should not interrupt in the daily Scrum. And I hope you remember servant leadership, right? That is what a Scrum Master is doing here. So for servant leadership to work, you need to coach the team whenever required. You should never interrupt the team. And some Scrum Masters, I know some Scrum Masters in on real life projects, they basically take a minute after the daily Scrum and they may raise some questions that they may have, thought provoking questions or concerns, or if there's any mentorship opportunity, they may do it, but towards the end of the daily Scrum, right? When everyone has spoken, when everything is done, they may take a minute and briefly talk about what they thought about the daily Scrum or what they think about certain um, topics being discussed on the daily Scrum, or if they have any question. Sometimes Scrum Masters also do this after the daily Scrum is done, and they may meet up with a Scrum team member and pose their question. So that is also possible. That is even less intrusive when it comes to you being part of the daily Scrum. Question for this video: how often do you join the daily Scrum? If it is part of your job description, I'm pretty sure you join every day. But if it is not, how often do you join the daily Scrum? And that is all that we had in this video. I hope you got value out of it. I hope you liked it, and hit the like button if you really did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell icon to stay notified every time we upload new content. And if you like our work, consider contributing at pmclounge.com/contribute. Thank you.